So, listen, you probably are the best player that the Panthers ever had.
Second best player. Sam Mills is the first.
So, just like Sam Mills, though, we're going to expand the Hall of Honor. And you're going to be there, baby.
Who, me?
That would be you, yeah. Yeah. You know, you will be enshrined forever. When your grandkids come here, they'll be seeing you here.
There's very few things in life that really make me emotional to where I want to tear up. And when you say the opportunity for my grandkids to come in that stadium, that penetrates a place that I generally don't go. And so it's good to be back.
The rookie Smith from his 7-yard line. Throws downfield. Smith breaks free.
Cuts to the left of the 10. Smith will score.
And now, here to share his story is our keynote speaker for today. Steve Smith has recently become a voice for those battling depression and other mental health issues. And it is with great pleasure that I welcome him to share his message of hope and recovery.
So as everyone knows, I played in this city for 13 years. When I first came here 19 years ago, never really thought I'd play that long, but God had his favor on me. I had a lot of accomplishments, but yet in those accomplishments, I felt very alone. So I just started to realize that I need to seek help. I started to realize I'm not broken, I'm human. I'm erred or flawed, but yet I get up every morning and I figure it out. One of the biggest things for me is I want my kids to say that my daddy made me proud. This is also a legacy for me, a legacy for my family. I left an imprint on this city in football. I want to leave an imprint on this city for hard work.
The first interaction I remember with Steve was in college because we were at Utah together. You guys think Steve was crazy on the field as a pro, man, in college, it was nuts. Steve was such a competitor on the field. I remember we had one game we played at New Mexico and they had Urlacher on their team. And Steve ran back a punt literally with one shoe on for a touchdown and he juked Urlacher for the score with one shoe on.
The acceleration, the burst, the physical strength that Steve Smith had, his jumping ability, all those things, you can see on tape.
Something about Utah, right? Steve Smith, third-round pick, so not like the focal point of the draft class at that point by any means. A rookie playing in his first game in the NFL, not viewed as more than a rotational wide receiver guy, special teams player, and takes the opening kickoff in Minnesota back for a touchdown.
The rookie Smith from his 7-yard line. Running outside 30, there he goes. Smith is gone. The rookie on his first touch as a professional, all the way for a touchdown.
From that point on, it was the Steve Smith show. I mean, if a player can beat you by himself single-handedly, Steve Smith pretty much did it.
You don't know who Steve Smith is. By the end of this game, you don't know who he is. I promise you that.
Smith caught it. Are you kidding me?
I remember back in the days when the squad had ways.
Did you see this face? That means I scored. What's your message to these young DBs who want to keep talking with you?
While the options stay bitching. Barbershop fights off limits to the realest. Nickel by the block. What a move by Smith.
He went up and got it. Touchdown! What a catch!
Go figure.
Some big guys play small, some small guys play big. For a 5'10" receiver, he played so big. He was so physical. He could jump so high, and he had such a wide catch radius. He was a 6'4", 6'5" receiver in a 5'10" receiver's body.
He would go up and make one-handed catches. I mean, catches that were behind him. No way you thought when that ball's in the air, he's going to come down with possession. And his stiff arm, I don't know if there was a player at that time in the league that could just hit you with a stiff arm and knock you out of the way. He'd grab him by the face mask and stiff arm him in the face mask and get those extra yards.
He was probably the most gifted athlete with the football in his hand that I've ever seen in my life.
He lived for those plays. When it was a big game, he just embraced it.
Got him right where we want him.
Yeah,
overtime on the road.
As we start overtime, quarter number 2. Smith at the 45 to the 40.
It's
breaks
over.
free.
It's over.
20.
St. Louis played a lot of cover 2, which the safety would lean outside. And so you try to make the safety look like a clown by banging the post off of that. We had run it in practice, and they were starting to jump our snap count. So Jake did a good job of going on 2, so we were able to get the time to get that route off. Takes a minute. So our O-line did a great job. Steve ran a great route. Jake dropped a dime for a walk-off overtime win. That play was as well executed as any plays really in the history of the NFL.
What happened between you and Talib on the field early in the game?
I don't know. You gonna ask him because he didn't finish the game. Ice up, son. Ice up.
There was a swagger, a confidence in Steve Smith, and that passion. It's hard to find in human beings, but I'm telling you, you will not find a human being more competitive than Steve Smith.
My emotion was part of my game. Some people say when you get emotional, you lose your focus. But for me, if you got me upset, my focus became more and more narrow.
You know, even in pregame, he'd be looking at the opponent, you know, he would gear himself up. I'd not seen a player in my career that was as competitive as he was.
Anytime you've doubted Steve and given him a reason to be motivated, he took that reason and he used it.
Try me if you want to!
Because he wouldn't accept mediocrity. He just refused. If you weren't going hard, he was going to challenge you.
He had a way of finding out if you were a guy, if you were going to go out there and do your job and play hard.
If you didn't get the job done, they're going to get you out of here. You either work your butt off or you get comfortable and get your walking papers.
We were both pretty darn competitive. You play to win, and that's it. And obviously Steve's the same way. We respected each other. We never, ever jumped each other's behind on the field. If I missed him on a pass, he never berated me like a lot of these diva receivers do.
You good throw. 50 interceptions. But you're still my guy.
He brought a passion. Off the field, on the field, everywhere Steve went, he brings up passion as an analyst today. And that's something that I love Steve Smith for.
So we're in Los Angeles, working with NFL Network, doing the rookie premiere. I got the opportunity to see some of these guys at the Combine. Got to see them at the draft. And now they are NFL players trying to find their fit. So it's a whole weekend for the rookies to really just see how life is as an NFL player. This is the glitz and glamour. They're in Hollywood, they're in Beverly Hills. This is not the real peaks and valleys of their career. Now they're getting some tools in this weekend. They get to interact with some former players, including myself and other guys. And so for me also too, I'm happy to be a part of it and I'm happy to experience it. So it's pretty cool. They have breakout sessions. They'll talk about what's expected. Then they have some players that come and talk. They find out some of the mistakes that other men have made, and guys are willing to be vulnerable. Some have had some hiccups, including myself. But when the cameras are off, when the doors are closed, we get to talk about the real stuff, the daily grind, the pitfalls, and also the hard days.
Breaking news, Steve Smith, a wide receiver who spent the past 13 seasons in Carolina, now a Baltimore Raven.
When you release a guy like Steve Smith, you're losing the guy who's been the leader and a playmaker on the outside. I really miss him in Carolina.
Carolina Panthers decided to go in a different direction, releasing him today.
For me, was I upset and disappointed? Absolutely. I took the approach when I left here. You know, I still got to live life. If I was so butthurt, I'd have packed up and left this place. But instead, I'm more invested in this community as retired than I was when I played. I feel at home. That's what it's about for me. How can I leave my imprint on this city? When Mr. Tepper called me, it was very emotional because it was something that I wasn't expecting, something that I really was not thinking was a possibility. And I think it's something that when you look at the short time that the Carolina Panthers have been here, this is the next step of expanding, really the footprint, really combining the two states and the history of what the team has done, what it will do in the future, and the imprint on this organization, on this city, and on these two states. I can go back and think about just all the great opportunities. Coming from Los Angeles, playing in Utah, and now it's a place that I call home, a place where my kids call home. And the friendships, lifetime relationships. This is a memory that I get to share with my family. I have senior on the back of my jersey because we have a 4-year-old, Steve Smith Jr. And the Carolina Panthers organization and Mr. Tepper give me an opportunity as a father that he's able to kind of remember what Dad used to do, to connect those dots, to complete that sentence.